They slow down and move over. That is the warning for drivers this morning coming from AAA, and it does not only apply to emergency vehicles. Just this week, a worker with the Department of Transportation was struck and killed on the Grand Central Parkway while on the job.
So these accidents are unfortunately becoming more common. So joining us this morning is AAA Northeast spokesperson Robert Sinclair. Good morning, Robert. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So let's talk about the accident that happened this week, a fatal accident on the Grand Central Parkway. It's one of many this year. Can you break down the numbers for us?
Well, in fact, if you look at last year, we had 51 people killed at the roadside, and 22 of those were tow truck drivers.
Wow.
And 4 were police officers.
Wow.
So would you believe being a tow truck driver is more dangerous than being a police officer, at least when you're by the roadside? So far this year, we've had 13, 6 with tow operators, and in just the last 3 days, 3 roadside workers or tow truck operators have been killed, including the one that you mentioned on the Grand Central Parkway. We don't have all the details about that crash yet, but slow down, move over. People obeying those laws would help cut down on this tragic toll.
Right. So Robert, I don't know if there's an answer to this, but why do you think we are seeing more of these kinds of accidents, right? Why is it more dangerous to be a tow truck driver? And why do drivers in New York have to be even more careful? Are things different here?
Well, I think we got into a lot of bad driving habits during the pandemic when those who were driving with the open roads during the lockdowns just went kind of crazy. We did a speed camera study and found that some speed camera tickets in New York City after the lockdown on March 17th until the end of June went up by 1,200%. As traffic has returned to the roads, we're seeing that these bad habits are remaining. And New York has its particular set of circumstances because of the congestion here. When a tow truck driver is by the side of, and we're not talking about the highway, a local street, a primary, secondary, tertiary street, they are exposed to the traffic because of the narrowness of the road. Sometimes they have to set up cones to get traffic to go around. Sometimes the street is so narrow when they're trying to tow a disabled vehicle, they have to block the entire street, and that creates frustration on the part of other drivers. And we've had our drivers had the water bottles thrown at them. People go and bang on their vehicles get sideswiped by other vehicles, and some of our drivers have been assaulted. So it's not just the vehicles, it's the people as well.
Wow.
Yeah, well, so the AAA, though, you're taking action to expand the slowdown, move over law. So can you tell us how this works exactly? Just lay it all out for us and how it would help.
Yes, there's pending legislation that would expand slow down, move over to disabled civilian vehicles, to those that have their hazard lights on or who have flares displayed. From 2016 to 2022, 37 disabled drivers were killed by the roadside in New York and in New Jersey. Connecticut, which has the expanded law that covers civilian vehicles, saw 11 killed during that time frame. So, you know, one death is one too many, but at least there are fewer in Connecticut, and we think because of the expanded law there, and we're trying to get it expanded in New York. But when you see the flashing lights, drivers have to slow down and move over if they can change lanes safely.
Yeah, you know, and what about just everyday drivers, right? Because if you don't have the flashing lights, you're already in a predicament, right? So for everyday drivers, while they wait for a tow truck to arrive, what should they have maybe in their trunk or in their car to keep them safe?
Well, reflectorized triangles would be very good, and you set them up behind the vehicle in a way, usually 3 are best, and you set them up so that it channels your vision, channels vehicles away from your vehicle. But the best thing to do if you're broken down, whether it's by the side of the road or you're stuck in traffic, as happened to me one time when my engine failed in the middle of the road, stay in the vehicle. The vehicle has crash protection systems that will help you in the event that you do get struck. A lot of these people that we're seeing that are struck when their vehicle is broken down are going to get help. They try and cross the highway, try and walk across the highway. That's a formula for disaster, and we're seeing just too many people that are that's happening to. But you know, when your vehicle breaks down, you get into a panic, and you don't know what to do. So here's the information: stay with that vehicle if you get to the side of the road. Unfortunately, our roads are old and they lack modern transportation facilities in many cases, meaning a lot of them don't have breakdown lanes, and that's why they get into trouble.
Well, great advice. Robert Sinclair from AAA Northeast. We always appreciate having you on the show. Great advice.
Thank you very much for having me and being able to get this message out. Thank you. Thank you.
Important.